You know, it's really fascinating listening to Rabbi Mehmet Shaar, and he has such a global command of all of the parts. I could really say them out, but there's so many parts. Now, I see an opening for myself to be helpful because learning the Otos Chaim is like a basic fact for people who want to really understand what's going on in the inside. Because any kind of learning that we do, we have to start on the outside and listen to just the words. But it would be nice if you could hear the words in context of the way that they reset it, that you can get at your hands. We're on page Mem Test in the Otos Chaim and the Tiv Chaim, the Pirush by the Tiv, and we're beginning Perek Dalet. I'm going to read the top part straight out between Perek Mem Test and number Nun, and then we'll read the light print in the Tiv. Try to keep going on until we can get a grasp on what's going on. Let me just make sure. Yeah, everything is okay. So here's where he starts. If he says da, we're on number Aleph down below, Perek Dalet. Kasher Allah hakeser lamatzil. So now we're talking about the situation where all of the lights have come out of the pad Ak and the Keser has come back. And now it's time for those blemishes or those imperfections that they had to come back into the pad Ak to receive perfection. This is an idea of coming back, is that the tshuva. V'daki asher Allah hakeser lamatzil, and this is the technical part. As it goes back to the matzel, so there's a certain amount of time that it was moving from the position that it acquired as the top of the haakudim to be able to move back into the pad Ak from which it came. During that period of time, what happens is that there was a light, an interior light called the Yechida. Remember, there's the concept called the Rantchi, Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Yechida. There's all levels of lights. And there's lights on the inside, and there's lights which are called Pedimim. There's lights on the outside, which are called Makifim. We've seen these words before, and they're big-time words. So we see what happens is that when Keser comes out, it adds a Yechida to Malchus. Malchus now has a complete Naranchi inside of itself. It's holding, it's a Kli. It's not a Kli, because we've already said that in the Kudim there's really only one Kli, but it acts in the same way. And the Yechida, which was provided to it as a result of the appearance of the fantastically large light or powerful light of Keser, when it came out of the pad Ak and shines down this chain of 10 different positions, which we'll call, this is for conversations that we'll call the sub-spheros. That light is no longer shining on it because it's going backwards. And he's going to explain, Shuhu ha'or shechoya nimshach lam in the Keser, that is the light that was nimshach and reached down all the way through the spheros down to Malchus. That light produced a Yechida on the inside of Malchus. Reading on. So since the Keser went up and it left, so that it lost its desire, its intention to shine down below, that is, into this Malchus. Now we have a concept which is that once a entity is infiltrated, let's say, like say us, and we have a neshama inside of us, there's always some element of that neshama that's even in us, and even after our neshama, the neshama has left, there's an aspect, even in the bones of a person who's passed away, there's an aspect of ruchnius in those bones. I'm trying to think of what I know, the garmi, it's the, it'll come back, and we'll see it again, what this is called. Maybe I'll remember it later. Anyway, V'kasher Sayim HaKeser the Hisalim, now when the Keser finally returns back into the pad Ak, V'Sayim HaMalchus the Alos the Yisod, and because we're talking about a chain, or like a ladder, whereas the top part moves up, then the bottom's going to move automatically along with it. So if Keser moved in one notch up until the Ma'atzel, the pad of the Matzel, the Ak, and then we're going to see that Malchus is now going to have moved from Malchus to Yisod. So he says, let's see, V'kasher Sayim HaKeser the Hisalim. So now it's come back and it's been hidden. V'Sayim HaMalchus the Alos of the Keser. In other words, it went up back into the pad Ak, and the Malchus is now moved into the position of Yisod. So then the main light of Keser, not talking about the Rishima that was left behind in Malchus, but the main light is going to start shining again, Kamo B'Tekila, like it did at the beginning. It's going to shine that Yechida back into Malchus again. Because after the Keser goes into the Ma'atzel, he also be Yisod, then she also moved up, and she's now in the position of Yisod. She's not so far away from the Pada'ak. So that it is one station up, let's say, on the train platform, on the train track, so that station, it's one closer to the Pada'ak, that is the Matzel. And as we said, what it originally got from the Keser, it's going to get it again. Now he adds, Ak calls the man shelo sayim keser la'alos, but the fact is like this: as long as the Keser is still traveling, in other words, it's moving upwards instead of shining downwards, it's faced the other direction. During that period of time, there's a block between the ma'atzel and what's down below it. In other words, the Keser is blocking it as it's going up. And as a result of this whole process, imagine that the spheros, or the sub-spheros, what we want to call them, of the haakudim, are like a ball. And on the front of the ball, it has a face. That's the panim. So when it's coming out of the Pada'ak, then the face is facing downwards, and it's shining right straight through the face. But now when it turns back, and its whole purpose is not to be mashpia to what's down below it, as the Tiv is going to bring this out, its purpose now is to get back to the Pada'ak so it can achieve a shleimus. When that happens, so to speak, it's turned its back, which has no face. It's turned its back on what's down below it, and all of its attention is focused on going upwards, so there's nothing coming back anymore. So this also affects Zah, because Zah is moving up too. You got a chaya inside, the chaya penimi from the Keser. All of them, as his point is all of them, all of the sub-spheros that are down below, all of them are going to lose the light that was added to it as a result of the appearance of Keser. And we can see this probably as a pattern. Now let's look at the Tiv. The Tiv is going to be on page Memtes of the left-hand column. And we're not going to read the black print because we just read it. And so we're going to read the Tiv because the Tiv always repeats it in different kinds of ways for us. It says, Gavar bi'arnu, we saw this in perek Gimel. Kasher or ha-keser chazav v'niknas elamatzil shuhu pada'ak, as the light of Keser turns around, goes backwards and enters into the peh of Ak. Also achrav or hamalchus v'amba b'makom kliya yisod. So we have to know that everything is moving in tandem. So the malchus now, the scroll like this. The Keser moved into the peh da'ak. We're going to see that Chochmah is going to move up into the place of Keser. And all this, where is Malchus? Why could we keep talking about Malchus all the time? It's really, really important what's going on in Malchus. So he says that Malchus also is not in Malchus anymore, not in the place of Malchus. It's now in the place of Yisod. V'kibla makif tachton d'chai. And as a result of that, it gets a makif. Now, we've been talking about the lights that were added to it before, and we said that was the light of Yechida. That was the or panimi of coming out of Keser. That allowed the Yechida of the panimi. But now we're going to add also a makif, the first makif, the lower makif, the makif of Chayim. That makif is going to also come out of it's going to be, because why is it that it gets this makif? Because not only does it get the Yechida inside of it, but now it's moved up a level and it's closer to where the source of the light is. And as a result of that, it gets more light, not just the Yechida that it lost in the Penimius, but it's now going to get its first makif, which is called Chayim. Now, all of these lights that are added back into it after it lost them is only when the Keser gets back into the Pada'ak. Amnam kasher hakeser hiskil la'alos, but during the period of time when it began to go its journey back to the pad ak, akadayim lo alo lo magamri. It didn't, and it's still not completely back there. It's in between. Az ba'osa shah nistalka b'chinas or penimi the yechida. During that period of time, there's a darkness down below, and the yechida that was added into it as a result of the appearance of this keser is now going to leave. In the sphere of Malchus, so it's not going to be in the sphere of Malchus anymore. Because the only reason why you have the light of Yechida, in the past, because so much light, tremendously blinding light, came out of Kesser. This Kesser, as it went down the pipe, it wound up in Malchus as a Yechida. But now, therefore, Haksha Pona, it turns its face, as we discussed the idea of a ball with faces on the face on the front and nothing on the back. It turned that face, and that face is now looking up. So he says, so now it's gone backwards into the path. It doesn't shine down anymore. So therefore we had that light that came from Kesser in Malchus, which is called the Yechida Benimi of Malchus. You don't see it anymore because the face is turned the other direction. There's no shafa coming from this Kesser. But now, as when the Kesser finds its way in to the pad, the Ak, and it's now in its place, and he's using this word shlemos, and the malchus has come completely together now, and it's not moving; it's reached the place of yesod. It now gets a yechida back, just like it had before. And the toisiv law or makif techaya. Now it's going to get a different kind of light, a more powerful light. A light that's called the makif, as we learned earlier, way back, is that the light, the makif, is too strong to be able to stay inside. So it comes back out. That's called chaya. And the reason why it's going to get this new makif, this powerful light on its outside, is because it's closer to the path of Ak, which is called Elamatzel. So we see like this, at the time that Kesser is moving up, so it lost the Yechida of the Or Penimi. But everything lost something because there's no light coming from Kesser. So Kesser actually added all the way down the line. It added into Chochmah, it added into Bina, it added into Zer Anpen, it added into all the different parts of Zer Anpen, and it added into Malchus. But now it's gone. It's gone the other way. It's not looking down anymore. So he says the spheres Yisod, Kain Na'azagam came because the spheres Yisod, Hod, all the rest of the different parts are all going to lose some aspect that they got as a result of the light of the face of Kesser. And it goes like this, though, in the way that during the time that Kesser is going up, the stalka b'shar spheros, the light that its influence, the influence of its light is gone from what's down below it. Hama'alos, shenitoisva, all of those different things that were added bahem into them, b'yitzias a Kesser, when Kesser originally came out of the Peda'ak. But the nistalka and nistalik mizacha bechinas or panimi dechaya. So therefore, Zah lost its light panimi of chaya. And we said that the yechida of he's just going through the different spheres. The yechida of Malchus was lost, and the chaya of Zer Anpen was lost. Me'ima, that is Bina, nistalka bechinas or panimi the neshama, so she lost the or panimi of her neshama. Ma'ava, nistalka bechinas or panimi the ruach. All the different things that were added. You have to go back to the other shiurim, try to listen through and see all those things if it's confusing. Let's go on to number base and the light print. So he says, "Vatam histalchus oros min spheros be'es aliyas Kesser." What's the reason why the light leaves the spheros as Kesser turns? Because during that period of time when the Kesser has turned, and it still has not reached the pad ak. So normally you say like this, is a balabas he wants to give to the family. But that's what happens when he has to move, and he starts to bring things back. He's going a different way. Nobody's taking it, he's not giving anymore. He's really looking to try to get things organized, and he wants to go a different direction. That's what he wants. Before he wanted to be mashpia and to give. Now he wants to be receiving from the matzah. B'shum kach, and because of this reason, kol mashu hu hashpia b'malchus b'shachar sfiros, everything that he gave to malchus and all the rest of the sfiros, nistalik b'shas aliyas lamala. So therefore they lose it all as he's going backwards. Became shebe'es aliyas akesser. So since at the time the kesser is going up, olos achrav kol sfiros b'bedrega achas. Remember, it's a train. So if the engine moves up, then everything else, the caboose is going to move up too. Now he says it again. He says, what happens is the train all moves up. Next station for Chachma, which was below Kesser, is now going to be in Kesser. Everything will be in a different place now. Bina Ola al Makom Chachma, B'chein Shaar Sfiros. Their Anpin moves to the place of Bina. So therefore, at the time that Kesser goes up, he doesn't give anything to the spheres that are down below him. And the same thing is true all the rest of the spheres as they're going after him. So therefore, all of them turn their faces. It's one big sphera. Really, what happens at the top of that sphera is going to happen every place else too. So since it turned its face to go back to the pad ak, so then the Chachma also turned its face. The same thing with Bina and Zera Anpin. All the parts of Zera Anpin and Malchus, they're all looking upward. Called sphere of the sphere of his galas oras mashrin the taisif law. So every sphera, in relationship to the lights that were added into it and revealed, it's called sphere of sphere shalamana memeno. Everything is lost. Like the Malchus goes completely dark, right? So except for, he's going to explain. But everything is going to go dark because of the fact that the lights that were added from up above have now turned off because of the direction of the face. We have this concept now of panim and ach, panim and backside. So we'll see this a little bit more, and this is a basic, really basic idea in Kabbalah. Let's go on to the next part. The next is the left column, light print. He's saying, "Hein emes shebaliyas akasa the pad ak." So the truth is like this: is that as Kesser is going into the pad ak, hu choya machzir panav mechasvirus melahoyer behem. He turns his face from the other spheros from shining on them. Lo zu bilvad. Not only this, elo choya mapsig bein hapad ak the bein spheros. There's no reason to think that the light that's inside of ak is stopped shining. But what's happened is that Kesser is no longer in the position where it's trying to shine down below and pass the light through. It's not a pass light. He's not a pass-through anymore. He's now blocking. Below Yachlu the Kabbal es Oram, and as a result of that, they can't even get the light from what's up above from the matzah. And he goes over it again. So what happens as a result of that? The Yechida that was in the Penimius of the Malchus is gone. Here's the point that he said these things over and over again, but here's the point that he wants to make. The real point is the light never really leaves, and this is a rule basically, and he's going to explain it. But there is a rishimo, which is a remnant of the light. So let's say like this: it leaves something behind. Let's say 100 pieces went in, and one piece of the slide of Yechida, for example, went in, and 95 or 99, take your choice, of the parts left. But one part, which is pure, it's just a small part, but that one part remains. Shekein ku kol davar shebekadusha. So he says this is the rule. Anything in kedusha, shekasher mistale b'mena ha'or, when the light leaves it, adayim nisha rosha min ha'or, but there's still an impression made from the original light. That is this Roshan, which is this remnant. And as we see that the Keser is stopped going up from the Peh Da'ak, and everything moved up once like the train. They're all in a different place, higher. So we see that Malchus is now in the place of Yesod. Became called the Sephiros all Medrega Achas, and all the rest of the Sephiros, they went up one Medrega. As Chazer or HaKeser Lahayir B'Malchus. Now the Keser is now set up again, and it starts shining downwards again. V'Chazer Bechinas Or Benimi Shal Yechida Malchus, and the interior light, the Benimis Dika light that was originally produced as a result of the appearance of Keser in Malchus comes back. Below Zubilvah, but not just this. That's not all it gets, and he's reviewing again. But since all of the Sephiros have moved up one place, so therefore at this time, since it's now closer to the Peh Da'ak, at that moment is added into this Malchus, or Makif Rishon D'Chaya. The first, there are two Makifim, Chay Yechida, and the first one is called Chay. Now we actually saw this before, previously. The Chay is an ore which is too great for the Panemius of the sphere to be able to handle it, so it goes in and it comes back out because it can't handle it. Now there's another light, the Yechida, that never goes in. It's too big to even be considered that and too distant. So that every sphere, it gets something added to it because all of the spheres that are down below Keser are now closer to the Peh Da'ak. So now all going to get something added onto them that they didn't have previously. Let's do number Dalet, and then we're finished. So because of the fact that the Or of Yechida left Malchus, so during that transportation, that moving time when the Keser was in progress, so all whatever light was added into any sphere as a result of the appearance of Keser, they've all been left. They've all left. So the Chaya is now gone from Zah. And so we see now that the idea of neshama is gone from bina. The ruach is gone from chachma. All of those things that were added into them as a result of the appearance of Ak are now gone. Now remember that the first light that came out is Malchus. Then next came out the 6 different parts of Zer Anpin, all of them adding a little sixth, and then came out Ima, which we call Bina, and then came out Abba, which we call Chochma. All of those came out in order. First was, we call this the lower of Natata La'ela, that it started at the bottom and it went up. So that is first Malchus and then finally Keser. That's the way the order of that. As a result of that, the lights keep adding on to Malchus, adding on to it, and all the way down like that.